current situation in front of us, which is the deep state and pay to play, is what we have an opportunity with the Imran situation. You can very easily see why all the histrionics occurred yesterday, because even with Cy Hirsch, to move the attention away from this situation will unlock others in the conspiracy on Capitol Hill, as well as others who are involved in this conspiracy, and will slowly unlock the entire conspiracy, so we will have a chance of at least slowing down or turning down the deep state. So that's the point I wanted to make. And it's done through documents. I produced documents yesterday which showed in 2005 Imran Awan configuring BlackBerries. He was openly bragging he could see the calendars, which means you can see the email of all the people on Capitol Hill. 2005, that is Anthony Weiner's trusted staff. The emails Hillary Clinton sent about Anthony Weiner's trusted staff and the BlackBerries referred to Imran Awan, also Abid Awan. Now, this face is slightly obscured, so if this isn't Abid, that's fine. And it may be another picture of Imran. I believe it's Abid, but we'll cross that bridge later. I'm just using him as a representation. So we are going to drill down to the documentation around top secret access. We are going to drill down about White House visas and passports as well. Passports here, I'm using PPs as passports. We'll also probably talk about PP dossiers as well. And then we're going to talk about these loans. These loans, I have a source in the Congress, deep, bad loan, that these are going to come forward. So no amount of histrionics is going to change this capability. People are going to continue to return to this. There's going to be a one-day, effervescence around any new kind of sorted report that comes out about, Seth Rich, but inevitably, the attention is going to come back to pay to play, which is at the heart of the DNC situation. And you are going to find, as I've said before, and Brady Blonde has said this as well. Sorry about that. Brady Blonde has said this as well. It's going to be a contention between the forces of good in the Democratic Party, which I know a lot of people out there don't believe in Obama and don't think he was trying to do the right thing, and don't believe that he was being pressured by the deep state, and the forces of the deep state. And I'm not saying here Hillary is in any way more guilty than George Bush. That the deep state is both the Bushes and the Clintons for the last, since Reagan, really, since George Bush obtained control of the presidency. So, and I'm sorry about the portrait here, but the smashed hard drives is just like the smashed BlackBerries in the campaign. These are signposts. Now, I wish Andre Taggart would come forward and talk about the smashed hard drives, go on CNN, go on MSNBC and talk about the smashed hard drives, because this would be a landing post or a signpost, a key inflection point in the investigation against the deep state, much as the smashed BlackBerries really was a symbol of the deep state, really, in the election. This is really when people heard about that report about the smashed BlackBerries during the election, they started thinking that, wait a minute, why would you do that if you were innocent? And that's when things started turning against Hillary Clinton. The smashed hard drives here that I discovered at Imran's home at 9667 Hawkshead are going to be a key point. Everything the deep state is trying to do to get you away from the smashed hard drives, okay? So, and the data can likely be recovered. This is something that Trump can do something about today, if he would like. So, this is DeSantis. This is Representative DeSantis. We're going to be going up to his district in Jacksonville fairly soon. This is Tucker Carlson. Obviously, we had momentum as far as 2 days ago with Tucker Carlson having DeSantis on his program, talking about an investigation needs to ensue about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That isn't going to change. Now, if the Mayo Clinic is doing funny things and I will have, I believe, documents. I have a deep Jacksonville will come forward. And I will have documents to show that there is an illegal organ harvesting operation going on at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. Again, it doesn't have to be the Mayo Clinic. It's people around, the rat lines that have developed around the Mayo Clinic, much like drug dealers hover around methadone clinics where they know addicts are. It's just like sea lions accumulate around dams where salmon are being released. It's the same exact situation. It's not the Mayo Clinic, but it's a rat line forming around the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. We're going to get to that story. Again, here is the Awan Brothers shipping, okay? And this is import-export trade info. People say there's no support for the case here, but these are ship dates. Now, there's many, many other ship dates here for the Awan Brothers, but there is the ship date. And here is the place that they're going, that these shipments are going. Now, I don't know if this is a fake website or not, but it seems like somebody's gone to an awful lot of trouble to establish who the exporters and importers are, who the cutouts and trading companies are, what the items that were shipped, okay? And then this last shipment is almost unbelievable, 24,400 cartons. Now, we've had several people talk about diplomatic containers, people shipping those and saying it was 1,400 container cartons of wine fill up a container. So you can just look and see that that's going to be 20 shipping containers, 20 40-foot shipping containers. That's an enormous amount of money for the Awan brother, an enormous amount of material to go under diplomatic cover to go to Lahore, Pakistan. Okay, so again, why do the Awan brothers have this high-end car dealership called Cars International Inc.? Why? Is it to launder money? Is it to provide diplomats high-end cars while they're in Washington, D.C.? Are they setup men for different operations against those diplomats to try to compromise them? What is the reason why these people in Congress that are doing this work with these BlackBerries have these car dealerships? Why? So this is the address, 624, right here, 624 Washington Street, right there. Why all the deaths at this Classic Motors, D.C.? Why all the deaths? Here's Robert Samuel Peacock right here, okay? There he is, died at age 52. There's his date of death, okay? Are these people being duped? Are these people coming from other industries being duped into coming into the car dealership? They're coming from other industries being asked to come into these car dealerships. I don't know the background of Robert Samuel Peacock, but I do know the background of this man right here, which is James Edwards Gibson. This is his listing that's been taken down from his mortuary. And he was from the building industry. He was building $5 million homes. Today, 96 hours later, after his death, dying face down in the bottom of this car dealership, again, only 4 months after this man died at a very young age, at 52, we had 5 people apprehended by the D.C. police with 10 police cars. Still, with the powerhouse local news organizations in Washington, D.C., we have no reporting on this. James Edwards Gibson has not been reported, to my knowledge, of this car dealership death. Why? We know that the Awans took consignments from different car dealerships from all over the Maryland and Virginia area. We know that they have a registered agent for Awan Brothers Inc. that killed a car dealer in Richmond, Virginia. We know from the lawsuit, for the bankruptcy lawsuit versus Abid Awan, that they took cars in dealerships. We know that one of the classic ways of running a rat line is to to take cars in consignment and just ship them in diplomatic containers to different West African and Middle Eastern countries. So why wouldn't we pursue this? Why wouldn't DC press outlets pursue this story here? And I'm sorry about the shaky. I'm just holding this thing. I'm sorry about the shaky and poor quality here, but we're gonna talk about this in a minute. But we've identified car dealers. Now again, this is a 2013 report for New Jersey, talking about a car ring in there. Its item is stolen. You go to a fence. You create illegal documents. You take the car and the illegal document you created and you put them in a shipping container. I didn't create this graphic. This was created by a New Jersey newspaper. It's loading into shipping containers. You slap it with a diplomatic sticker, and that means it can't be searched. And then you send it to Western Africa or Middle Eastern countries where there is no rule of law. The party in power and the diplomats in power can kill anyone who object to anything. So VIN numbers mean nothing. Fraudulent documents mean nothing. Okay, so again, sorry for the shakiness here, but this is Al-Attar. This is a person that's involved in the car dealership with the Awans. Al-Attar has been a double agent for Iran and Iraq for 14 years. We know that. We know his history with, we know his history with Paul Wolfowitz. We know that his fake medical degree was stripped from him. We know he defrauded people with medical bills for $2.3 million. These are criminals. These are not nice people. These are people who are involved in criminal operations. So why are we protecting them? Why are we going through all kinds of backflips and mental gymnastics talking about how Seth Rich died when we should be focusing on the actual deep state aspiring that's employed? Again, if you don't remember Arshad Mahmoud, again, he has a transportation company called Gold Transportation. He does live in Woodbridge, Virginia. He is Awan Brothers, LLC, 32049375036, Texas, Waco. Okay, doing business as. Anybody can look that up. Right there. The SOS file number is, boom, 0801676484. Okay. Murdered. Car dealers murdered. Okay. 7121 Monarch, Waco. Okay. He lived right here. I went to the home. Everyone said, don't knock on his door. I knocked on his door. He wasn't home. Why do I keep focusing on Alfred Jola? Because he is involved in a shooting on Capitol Hill 2 days after Seth Rich's murder. That was a cover for the Awans to get back into Capitol Hill by shutting down Capitol Hill. He was the wheelman. Again, he was involved with over 24 people in a luxury car ring, theft ring, in New York and New Jersey. Why was his name held out almost to the last after 12 or 13 different news reports? What is so special about Alpha Jola? Why would they change him from being a 26-year-old into being an 18-year-old that is then released after a shootout with the Capitol Police 4 months later? Why? Because they make money from people like Alpha Jola because they know how to steal high-end cars. They're so greedy. Greed will be their downfall, as Jack Aubrey said. Greed will be their downfall. They don't want to stop the illegal trade in stolen cars, high-end cars. They want to keep that business going, so they get Alpha Jola out of prison so that he can continue to do what he's been doing before. Again, the cover here for the murder of Mr. Gibson was a shooting of nine other different places in Washington, D.C. the day he was murdered, as well as the prosecutor's brother. The prosecutor's brother in Virginia was murdered in this case, or not murdered, but we still don't have the details of his death, in a home fire. And then all these shootings are to shard or smoke to cover those two murders. Still no one in the D.C., the powerhouse organizations, this is the most powerful city in the world politically, the most powerful news agencies in the world in Washington, D.C., with incredible resources, CNN, NBC, ABC, just think of all the resources, as well as the local TV stations, right under their nose, have not reported this case. Now again, all I did was look at who has been arrested in this area over the last couple of weeks or days. Yesterday, there's a guy this is his name, Iyab Tekeste, South Sudan Import-Export. Okay, I didn't create an import-export company from South Sudan. I'm not the general manager there. I wasn't arrested in Rockville, Maryland for stealing cars. So this is the type of data that you have to look at. Again, here's another one of the people arrested yesterday. He was a technician at Dar Cars, okay, automotive in Rockville, Maryland. Now the arrest was in Rockville, Maryland. Again, the way of paying for these operations is through illegal operations such as stealing cars. Here's Jallo versus the United States of America, the Attorney General in 2011, petitioning to stay in the United States. If Alpha Jallo was 18 years old, as if in the FBI version of events, that means he would have been about 11 when he sued the United States Attorney, which I do not believe is true. Okay, if we're not talking about Alfred Muhammad Jallo, never mind. But it says versus the Attorney General of the United States. Again, just for those who haven't followed the story, on the 5th of January, there was a kidnapping threat that the Imran and Abid issued toward their mother-in-law. They hacked her cell phone. This is the actual report from the Fairfax County. This is the prosecutor in this case. Brother died a couple of days ago in a home fire. That I'm reporting, I'm connecting Fairfax County directly with the death of this man, the chief prosecutors, the chief attorney general, with this man's brother. That to me is a strong coincidence. Again, when a person gets 17 tickets with no registration and no license, which is what Abid and Omar were willing to do, including many violations with alcohol involved, I again see that as a flag. We talked about imprisonment and so forth, but then also on the social media, using weapons, talking about the Karachi Customs House, putting people like Pir Muhammad Shah, who's a political military figure guarding the border of the Kashmir Pass, as well as responsibility for all of Punjab, as well as a national responsibility in other states of. These are people that Imran Awan is putting on his Facebook page. These are political military figures. So